Today, SpaceX made historic Crew Dragon Demo 2 flight with 2 NASA astronauts on board. Falcon 9 booster from this historic mission has been recovered on the drone ship in Atlantic Ocean. Here is my quick recap from this historic mission.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon. Go NASA, go SpaceX, Godspeed, Bob and Doug.
America has launched. And so rises a new era of American spaceflight, and with it the ambitions of a new generation continuing the dream. 20 seconds into flight, stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
T plus 30 seconds into this historic mission. Flying crew on board Dragon and Falcon 9, and look at them go.
Falcon power telemetry nominal.
M1D throttle down.
We're throttling down to get ready for the period of maximum dynamic pressure. We're in the throttle bucket. Reports say all systems are go.
Vehicle is supersonic.
We've exceeded Mach 1 on the Falcon 9.
M1D throttle up.
We're throttling
Max Q.
back up to full power as we're through Max Q.
Copy, 1 Bravo.
And we heard that 1 Bravo call out. That's just the second abort zone that they're in. They'll continue to be on this until the first stage has done its job and they switch over to the second. At this point, Bob and Doug pulling about 2.3 Gs, 2.3 times the Earth's gravity, already moving at over 1,500 miles per hour.
We've heard the call out for MVAC engine chill. That's getting the MVAC engine ready to light. That'll come at about 2:44 into flight. Right now, everything continuing to look good. Next major event coming up is going to be the triple. We'll have main engine cutoff of the 9 first stage engines, stage separation, and then ignition of the second stage engine to continue to carry astronauts into orbit. Coming up in about 20 seconds.
M1D throttle down.
We heard we're throttling down the Merlin engines on the first stage. And we have MECO.
MECO.
2 Alpha. Falcon stage separation confirmed.
Copy, 2 Alpha.
MVAC ignition.
All right, we have stage separation confirmed. The first stage beginning its flight back. The second stage being powered by that single Merlin 1D vacuum engine has ignited and is now carrying Bob and Doug into orbit. So they're going to continue under the power of this second stage.
Stage 2 propulsion is nominal.
Which will cut off at SECO, or second engine cut off at about 8 minutes and 44 seconds into today's flight. So a little over 5 minutes to go still on this second stage. You heard the call out to Alpha, so they're now in the longest abort zone that carries them all the way from about North Carolina up the eastern seaboard, almost to Canada. Things looking good though, getting good call outs, nominal propulsion on that second stage. Bob and Doug continuing to make their way into orbit.
Dragon SpaceX nominal trajectory.
Acquisition of signal in Bermuda.
SpaceX Dragon nominal trajectory.
All right, here in nominal trajectory, so Dragon pointed in the right direction, continuing to make their flight uphill. Heard acquisition of signal Bermuda. That's one of the other ground stations that they're using to get telemetry and data back from this spacecraft.
Stage 2 propulsion is still nominal.
little over 4 minutes, 40 seconds into the flight. Bob and Doug flying at more than 5,600 miles
Dragon
per hour.
SpaceX nominal trajectory.
Already almost 200 miles
Nominal
downrange
trajectory.
from the Kennedy Space Center. Nominal trajectory continuing. And while they continue uphill, looks like we are getting a view of the first stage as well.
Yep, on your right screen, you can see that first stage with the grid fins deployed. It's making its way back to attempt to land on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You today. And we're just about a couple minutes away from the entry burn, and that's where 3 of the 9 Merlin engines do ignite to help slow the vehicle down as it re-enters back into the Earth's atmosphere. And then after the entry burn will be the landing burn, which is just a single engine
Dragon
burn.
SpaceX nominal trajectory.
And you heard
Nominal
Starting
trajectory.
chill for entry burn.
there's that call out. They are still on a nominal trajectory on Dragon, still on second stage, and that's that MVAC engine on second stage on your left screen. Again, on your right screen is that first stage booster coming back towards our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You. We're about a minute away from entry burn.
Meanwhile, that second stage continuing to power Dragon into orbit. Again, if you're keeping an eye on that timer, that's going to continue to burn until 8 minutes and 44 seconds into flight. So a little over 2 minutes from now, we'll hear the call out Seco. It'll then be a little
Stage
under,
2
or a
propulsion
little
is still
over,
good.
a little over 3 minutes until Dragon physically separates from the second stage of the Falcon 9 after the upper
Dragon
stage gets a
SpaceX
chance.
nominal trajectory.
Dragon copies. Nominal trajectory.
Continuing to check in with Bob and Doug as they are on a nominal trajectory. Just about 10 seconds away from that first stage, starting that entry burn on your right screen. We should be able to see that view live.
Stage 1 entry burn started.
And there is that entry burn
Acquisition of
beginning.
signal, New Hampshire.
Alan.
This burn lasts about 36 seconds long.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
While that entry burn continues, we're just about a minute away from Seco. We'll have a number of events all happen in rapid succession. It'll
Copy,
be the
shutdown.
second engine cutoff.
Stage
and
1
we'll be
entry burn
looking
shut
for
down.
that stage 1 landing burn shortly after.
Actually, just within a few seconds of each other. Such a cool view on your left screen, seeing Bob and Doug on Dragon. Right now you can see the displays that they are seeing right now themselves.
Terminal guidance.
MVAC throttle step.
We are coming up 25 seconds or so away from Seco, or second engine cutoff.
This is also the point where Bob and Doug are experiencing their highest G-force. We're seeing the counter tick up to right about
Stage 1 entry
1.8.
transonic.
Copy Shannon.
You heard Shannon, so that just means they're in their final abort zones. If they were to abort at this point, it would either be an abort to orbit or to land off the coast of Ireland. Standing by for second
Stage 1 landing
cutoff
startup.
confirmation.
MVAC throttle step. MVAC shut down.
Stage 1 landing liner.
Confirmation of Seco's second engine cutoff.
Now we are waiting for our first stage to make its way to our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You.
Dragon SpaceX nominal orbital insertion.
Didn't
Launch
get
escape system
confirmation,
is disarmed.
nominal
Dragon
orbital
copies.
insertion.
Nominal
Stage
orbital
1 landing leg
insertion.
deploy.
And what you're seeing on your screen is a live view of our drone ship, where our first stage will be coming down. Looks like we lost that live view, but we'll wait for confirmation of that landing shortly here.
Falcon 9 first stage is successfully landed.
And
aboard
there you
Of Course
can
I
see
Still
on
Love
your screen, Falcon 9 has landed This is the first Falcon 9 to carry
Acquisition signal
humans
view
to
from
orbit, so very exciting for us.
Next footstep for SpaceX in space exploration strategy will be mission to the moon and making Starship lunar spacecraft. I think Elon Musk already proved his capability to make multiplanetary future real. Here is what he said for upcoming moon mission together with NASA.
This is really just the beginning, because we want to go from low Earth orbit. We want to go back to the moon, and the moon to stay. Have a moon base like Moon Base Alpha, and have build a city on Mars and be a spacefaring civilization out there among the stars. This is a super exciting future that I think that's the kind of thing where you're like, yeah, can't wait for it to happen. You know, have a moon base like Moon Base Alpha. And have build a city on Mars and be a spacefaring civilization out there among the stars. This is a super exciting future that I think that's the kind of thing where you're like, yeah, can't wait for it to happen. You know, have a moon base like Moon Base Alpha.
The thing that concerns me most right now is that unless we improve our rate of innovation dramatically, then there is no chance of a base on the moon or a city on Mars. I mean, technically we could send people around the moon on Dragon, but I'm not sure we'd want to. It's too small. There's really just one thing that matters, that is a fully and rapidly reusable rocket. That's the one thing that matters. That's why we have a big focus in terms of new technology development on Starship. And Starship needs to be fully and completely reusable, but that's crucial for getting to Mars. The moon is neither here nor there. We were going to make it out of advanced composites. And the advanced composites, they cost like $60 a pound, or $60 a kilogram, like a little more than that, maybe $130 a pound. And there was 60 to 120 plies for the tank. It was taking forever. We weren't making good progress. Cost crazy money. And I was like, okay, you know what's easy to weld? Steel. Steel is really easy to weld. Steel, especially 301 full hard steel, couldn't be that heavy because the original Atlas had a very good mass fraction.
Essentially, we want to make our current vehicles redundant. We want to have one system, one booster and ship that replaces Falcon 9, Falcon Heavy, and Dragon. All the resources that are used for Falcon 9, Heavy, and Dragon can be applied to this system. That's actually extremely important for making a light spaceship. The next key element is on the engine side. We have to have an extremely efficient engine. The Raptor engine will be the highest thrust to weight engine, we believe, of any engine of any kind ever made. We already have now 1,200 seconds of firing across 42 main engine tests. In order to land on places like the moon, where there is no atmosphere, and certainly no runways, or to land on Mars, where the atmosphere is too thin to land, even if there were runways, to land with a wing, you really have to get propulsive landing perfect. We believe the precision at this point is good enough for propulsive landing that we do not need legs for the next version. It will literally land with so much precision, it will land back on its launch mounts, establishing a self-sustaining base on Mars or the moon or elsewhere. Seriously, you need ultimately thousands of ships and tens of thousands of retanking or refilling operations, which means you need many launches per day. Fully reusable configuration, without any orbital refueling, we expect to have a payload capability of 150 tons to low Earth orbit. And that compares to about 30 for Falcon Heavy, which is partially reusable. It's really quite a big vehicle. Main body diameter is about 9 meters or 30 feet. It's just the basics about the ship: 48 meter length. Dry mass we're expecting to be about 85 tons. You've got the engine section in the rear, the propellant tanks in the middle, and then a large payload bay in the front. That payload bay is actually 8 stories tall. In fact, you can fit a whole stack of Falcon 1 rockets in the payload bay. Depending on whether you're landing or you're entering a planet or a moon that has no atmosphere, a thin atmosphere, or a dense atmosphere, and depending on whether you're re-entering with no payload in the front, a small payload, or a heavy payload, you have to balance the rocket out as it's coming in. The delta wing at the back, which also includes a split flap or pitch and roll control allows us to control the pitch angle despite having a wide range of payloads in the nose and a wide range of atmospheric densities. It was necessary in order to generalize the capability of the spaceship such that it could land anywhere in the solar system. The cargo area has a pressurized volume of 825 cubic meters, really is capable of carrying a tremendous amount of payload. You could conceivably have 5 or 6 people per cabin if you really wanted to cram people in. I think mostly we would expect to see 2 to 3 people per cabin. In the fuel tank are header tanks. So when you come in for a landing, your orientation may change quite significantly, so you can't have the propellant just slushing around all over in the main tanks. You have to have the header tanks that can feed the main engines with precision. So that's what you see immersed in the fuel tank. The ship engine section consists of vacuum Raptor engines and T-level engines. All 6 engines are capable of gimbaling. The engines with the high expansion ratio have a relatively smaller gimbal area or gimbal range and a slower gimbal rate. The Centaur engines have a very high gimbal range and can gimbal very quickly. And you can land the ship with either one of the Centaur engines. If one of the Centaur engines fails at any point, it will be able to land successfully with the other engine. And then within each engine, there's a great deal of redundancy. We want the landing risk to be as close to zero as possible.
And what do you think about the Crew Dragon Demo 2 flight? Write your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.